Hey.
Hello, everybody,
Hello, hello.
and welcome to the Galactic Command. I always want to say producer letter every time.
And this wasn't even a letter because
it
it's a
wasn't.
live stream.
That is true.
To
But
the world.
somehow it was the producer letter live stream, which isn't
In your head.
which isn't really a
Yeah.
letter either.
I like this opening where it says, Musco should do a 1 through 9 playthrough of Kotet live stream like he did with Kofi. The Musco Marathon
Listen.
Knights of the Eternal Throne stream. Dream Team
Must
stream.
go harder.
Guys,
It's really good,
You
really
should
good.
know that Charles, Ben, and I are in some ridiculous moods today, and
Yep.
from what I've seen from chat, so is chat as well. So this should.
I think all we need to do today is just have fun.
Yeah.
All of this should be fun and lighthearted, so let's do that.
I think that's what's going to happen anyway. So we are here to talk about Uprisings today, but first let's tell you about what today's stream is going to look like. So here's the agenda. As always, we're going to open with community topics, things that have come up from around the forums. We'll talk a little bit about some of that stuff. Then we'll move on to promotions, which is some of our subscriber rewards that we have going on between now and the launch of Eternal Throne. We're going to do a brief recap just again of Galactic Command in case someone doesn't know what Galactic Command is, because it does tie into Uprisings, which is bullet 4. We're going to talk about Uprisings and how it relates to the endgame of the Old Republic, and what that means going forward, because that's pretty important. And then we're going to wrap up with, as we always do, what the remainder of our stream and blog plan is through launch. So,
It's there again.
Oh.
Musco, you are the father I've always wanted but never deserved.
yeah, that's where I said chat's in a good mood today. We were cracking up at that before this even started. So, thank you.
All right,
Thank
take
you.
us from the community.
Sure. So last week we talked quite a bit about RNG and some of the stuff related to RNG, as in like the randomness of the command crates and how that affects gearing. And that we were very specifically changing that to be disciplines over advanced classes. One of the other things that came up with Galactic Command gearing that we didn't talk as much about was catch-up mechanics. And what we mean is either I'm into getting, my second tier of gear as an example, and now all of a sudden I'm normally DPSing and I need to play my healer for my operations group. How do I do that? Or, I've been playing my Marauder, but now I want to switch and play my operative. How do I catch up on gear quickly?
Yeah, or I've got a friend that hasn't been playing in a while and they're coming back. I want to help them catch up so they can join the group.
Right. So as you can tell by the thing after the dash, crafting is kind of how we want to address that. So Charles, do you want to explain a little bit about how crafting will help in that way?
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to have a lot of sources of crafting materials, schematics, all those things in the game, off drops from operations, for example, that are going to let you craft gear that is not the highest level in the expansion, but is quite high and will at least let you kind of catch up more quickly than you would have if you're just going through the command levels. So the command gear is still the best gear in the game. But this will really help you get a jump start if you're coming in late or you're trying to gear up and alt quickly and kind of just get them caught up and participating.
Yeah,
Right.
and now obviously the devil's in the detail on this one, right? Like,
Yep.
there is so much to go through. Like, well, does it have set bonuses? What's the item level? What's the item level compared to the max item level you can get? Is it right one crafted set, two crafted sets, whatever?
Where do the schematics come from?
Where do the
Where do the
schematics
materials
come
come
from? Where do the materials come from?
What's bound, what's not bound?
And so we could spend 30 minutes now talking about it, but I think is your plan you're going to post all the details?
Yep, either right after the stream today or first thing tomorrow morning, I'll get up a whole bunch of those details. It may not spell out exactly everything because some of the stuff could still be in flux when you get into like the real super nitty gritty stuff.
Right.
But we'll post more of those details tomorrow, especially about like where you can get the schematics. Like as
Yeah.
Charles said, from operations bosses, they will drop some of those. Some of it will come from command crates. So we
I
just,
think we can-
Conquests.
Yeah.
right, conquest will still be relevant as well.
But
so.
just to give the gist, like, there'll be some crafted gear you can get from crafting materials from the crates by just playing whatever content. And then there'll be higher level crafting gear where those materials drop from the hardest content in the game. And that's used to craft higher item level gear.
Yep.
So that's the gist of it. And like these guys said, the whole goal is to do catch-up mechanics if you need to get a new person into your group that needs to catch up, or you want to make an extra character and need to catch up on them because you've already played through a lot of the command ranks on your main character.
Or my friend comes back and he wants to jump in and start playing ops with us.
Yep.
So one of the big questions that came from it, this question came from chat, was can we craft the set bonus itself? No. The intent is that the set bonus will still come solely from Galactic Command. But this is a method of, let's say you want to get to tier 2, so you just craft everything, so I'm assuming you have a friend who can do it, and now all of a sudden you can even get through those tiers faster because you're just disenchanting everything or disintegrating it because you don't need it. But
Right.
we'll go into all those details in the forums, especially when we get into that stuff.
And then if we need to, after that, follow up on this next stream, we'll
Yeah.
do that. We wanted to get into uprisings here and not distract ourselves the whole time by talking about crafting. We'll see the information out there, and if we need to get back on a stream and answer more questions, we can totally do that as well.
Yep. Second thing, cartel market passes. So as you guys saw, we talked about it. Late last week, we removed the cartel market passes and then mentioned that one of the things we were looking at doing is figuring out exactly how we would compensate players for the fact that I still have one in my inventory, but it will no longer function as it originally did when we get into Knights of the Eternal Throne. So I'm going to post the whole full breakdown on the forums right after we get out of here. But the real simple thing is this. If you have one of those passes sitting in your inventory, if your cargo hold, etc., when Knights of the Eternal Throne early access launches, we are going to give you the 1-for-1 cartel coins for that pass back. And that is whether you got it from the GTN, whether you bought it yourself. If you have that pass, we are going to give you the cartel coins full cost back to you when that happens. So we wanted to make sure that no one felt that they were punished for having those passes since we changed the functionality and that type of thing. So,
absolutely.
So that is cartel market passes. The other thing that came up around the same time was commendations, specifically Warzone commendations and the crystals that you get from PvE. What's going to happen to those? So we've already talked about that they are both going to be converted to credits, but we know the big question is how many credits? Because ultimately, there's a lot of people saying, well, if it's a whole bunch of credits, maybe I want to get the credits. If it's not, maybe I want to buy companion gifts with them and that type of stuff. And so we really want to make sure that you have as much time as possible to make that decision. So the goal is tomorrow morning, we're still locking down, making sure that I have all the details correct. First thing tomorrow morning, I'm going to make a post with the exact conversion rates you can expect for your crystals and your commendations, and I'll address any other questions that come up at that time. So, but that'll be first thing tomorrow.
There's a couple of questions coming up about crafting we can talk about a little briefly.
Yeah, sure.
One is PvPers don't get crafting items. How do they gear? PvP players will get crafting materials so that they can craft gear.
Yep. That was very easy.
Yep.
I was expecting so much more, but you had a poignant answer for it, so I guess not. How does that work for guilds that have passes? That's a good question. So the thing that's very important is that if, and this will work with, the same thing would have been true for the war zones when we locked down the grants that they were bind on pickup, is basically if there are passes which are sitting in guild banks, they must come out. Because if they are sitting in the guild bank when we go into 5.0 early access, nothing will happen. We don't know who to give those cartel coins to, so make sure that they are all removed from the guild banks before that happens. So, and this will all be included in my post, and we'll make sure that messaging gets everywhere so that everyone knows exactly what to expect. But we want to make sure that happens. So, all right.
Yep.
Boom. So, promotions.
Good stuff. So, bad news. If you were really excited about having Shay Vizsla as a companion, we have passed that date. And you have made me sad by not being here for it, because Shay Vizsla is awesome.
I would bet all my money that everyone in this stream got Shay Vizsla.
We've probably got a pretty high percentage rate
If
there.
not, shame on you. I share Charles's disappointment.
Luckily, we still have another really awesome reward that I'm super excited about, the Rapid Recon Walker mount, as you can see in the background there. Super sweet ATST style kind of walker that you can roll around town in.
Yep.
That comes to you if you're a subscriber on as of November 27th.
Yep.
And then, of course, early access if you've been a subscriber through October 25th it was. And you're still a subscriber November 27th. You'll be getting early access to Knights of the Eternal Throne. Get a chance to check out the story, get into Galactic Command before everybody else, and start showing off your sweet loot.
That's right. So, giveaway time.
Giveaway time.
I have
we need
a
siren or something. That
I want you to know that I should bring it. I have somewhere. If you guys remember back in the day when we did our Galactic Stronghold stream, that I put up the red mining light everywhere in my stronghold. Well, a fellow employee gave me. I have no idea why they have one, but they have a giant red warning light, like a siren-y light.
We have a very diverse company. People come from very interesting backgrounds.
Yeah, so I should just bring it and just like park it behind us, and then also just pull it up and be like, whoop, whoop, and we just verbally make the noise for it. Anyway, so as always, I shouldn't say as always because we missed one, but we shouldn't have missed one. We need to give stuff away every stream, and so the scavenger pack just came out on Tuesday, so we figure what better to give out something from than the scavenger pack. Also, we haven't argued about what's better in a while.
Yeah, and I got tired of winning all the arguments, and so I just...
Is that how that went? That's not quite how I remember.
I distinctly remember losing quite a lot of the ones on the back end of this
Ben
game.
won the first one, and I think that's like first impressions matter, and so now Ben has won them all.
Yep.
So Ben, you lead then. What do you
Do I get first choice?
Yeah,
first choice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm obviously taking the companion. That's a no-brainer. That's clearly the coolest thing here. It's unfortunate that you guys get to pick the losing items.
I'm not sure how a lightsaber can lose to anything, but Senya Terrell's lightsaber
unfortunately,
in particular
all of these things
is
are really
amazing.
cool, and so this is going to be another close one.
I was so excited when we got, especially the extended, spear type saber into the cinematic, because that was something that we had wanted to do even in last year's, and so it was really cool to actually see it work and now put it in the game.
Yep. Yeah. And so obviously I'm an avid mount collector, so the mount obviously has to win because that's always the best option. So how about we do this for the giveaway? We'll give away 5 total prizes.
Five
total prizes. Of course, 5-year anniversary. We'll use the word scavenger since it's the name of the pack and it's literally on the screen. So, couple rules. 1, only type scavenger once, please, because if you type it more than once, it can knock you out of the running for the contest. So, please only type scavenger once. Just as a housekeeping note Tate asked me to mention is that if you win, just make sure to get your information to Tate and he will get you your items tomorrow. You probably won't get them tonight. You'll get them tomorrow. So, just as a note. So, please type scavenger into chat if you want to enter the contest to win, I think, one of any of these 3 items, right?
Yeah, you can pick whatever you want.
Yeah, you can pick whatever you want. I mean, obviously they'll pick the
How do
Lucas.
we make it
It'll
the
be more
hardest
work
for Keith?
It'll be more work
how's-
for Keith and Tate.
Yeah.
We're okay with that.
Yeah,
I think.
that's
I think
well,
the
that's
more
how.
work we generate, the better.
Yeah,
Got to keep them honest.
yeah.
I saw a cool question in there actually. Someone was asking about Shay Vizsla and whether she would be available at level 1, just like
great.
Nico Okar. And the plan is yes, she will be available. You can use a token just like Nico to make her available as a companion right from the start of the game. Of course, the story will ignore that. It's non-canon, as I like to say. But if you want to run around and have Mandalore the Avenger next to you wrecking stuff, you can do it.
If you want Shay to fight herself,
You cannot do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
see? Look
Shay
at
will
that.
not be available to fight Shay in combat.
See?
Sorry, we had to draw the line somewhere.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad I said that. Let's pretend that I was asking that question. Can Shay fight herself? All right. So while they're go ahead and doing the, and I'll let Tate in chat let you guys know when you can stop typing scavenger.
Little word twister there.
Little word
tongue
twister. So that he can announce who the winners are. But shall we carry on in the meantime?
Are we get to the meat? Oh, soon.
We're almost there. Which, by the way, I should note today, because something that has come up quite a bit on the past stream, since this is now the 3rd Galactic Command stream we've done, people have been like, show me some gameplay. Well, I'm happy to announce that Keith, Tate, and I went into an Uprising, and there's some pretty amazing stories that came out of it, mainly about people dying. But we have actual footage from Uprisings that we're going to use as examples to explain some of the pieces about Uprisings. So don't worry, you're going to get to see
Today is a gameplay-heavy video day.
You'll get to see some Uprisings today. Yep.
So let's really quick, for those people who maybe haven't seen the last few streams and heard about the Galactic Command System, let's give a quick overview. So there's a bunch of all new content that's going to be going into Galactic Command. So there's 9 new chapters coming with the expansion. They'll be repeatable and available at max level, plus the 16 chapters from Knights of the Fallen Empire, so a total of 25 chapters that you can play to earn command points at max level. With the Dark versus Light system, if you get to Dark 5 or Light 5, bosses will spawn around the galaxy that will require 8 to 16 players, depending on gear, to hunt them down and defeat them, so brand new content. And of course the Uprisings, which are 4-player, fast-paced, action-orientated events, which we'll be talking you through today. Why would you do any of these activities, all this brand new stuff in the game? It's because you want to be earning command experience points to get command ranks, which give you command crates, which give you power, cosmetic armor, and crafting materials. And it's accessible at level 70 for all subscribers. Anything you do in the game contributes towards Galactic Command and the Dark vs. Light system. So that's the very quick overview. If you need more detail, go back into the previous playlists on Twitch, and you can watch some of the other streams.
Have blogs on the front page as well. We have a great question in chat. Are you guys trying to kill Tate and make him earn his money?
The answer,
like in real life or just like in the Uprisings?
Yeah, 100%. 100% yes to both of them.
Also, another important question I saw, Musco, will you be a clicker in these videos?
Oh.
And I think we all know the answer.
I think I have some disclaimers
I've
before we
already
get there.
heckled some key binding decisions that he's made.
They were giving me some crap before we ever got anywhere near that. So, do you guys want to announce the winners of the?
I think we need the most professional writer on this panel.
I see.
By the way, I really appreciate that first person's name because we passed the baton twice because I didn't want to attempt to pronounce it.
I'm not sure if this is the name of a dinosaur or perhaps an early hominid of some kind, but Ngiopathicero, 17. Gaming Crimes. They have crimes in their name. Should we be rewarding that? You won. Torty 007. Stealthy but stylish. Ronin 01, I assume in honor of the accuser. And of course, longtime fan and supporter of Old Republic, Druid's Fire,
Yep.
has won.
So congratulations again to the 5 winners. Tate will either be in touch with you via Twitch chat, Twitch Messenger, or just send him a message to the SWTOR account and let us know your information. Tate says Angiopathic Hero 17. Duh.
Fair enough.
Dude, I like
I
Charles
prefer to
better.
think it's a dinosaur.
It's a dinosaur. Obviously, should we start a poll in chat to see whether it's a dinosaur or not?
Angiopathic hero or dinosaur?
Yep.
Weigh in.
Yep.
Let's carry on.
Yep.
To the actual
Alright.
point of the stream.
Someone did ask a question since you mentioned that Galactic Command is for only subscribers. Could you tell us a little bit about how that will relate to preferred accounts? Will they still exist? And the answer is absolutely yes. Like, the only thing, there's actually nothing changing about their access as they have it right now.
Yeah.
Preferred players will have the same levels of access today that they will have when Kotet launches. The same amount of flashpoints, war zones, all that stuff is still in place that it is now.
Yeah, and obviously the difference is you won't be earning command points.
Correct. Yep.
And the interesting thing is, obviously at the start of the expansion, in order to get to level 70, you have to be a subscriber. So on day 1, everyone's a subscriber who's going to be participating in Galactic Command anyway.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be fine.
Yep. So this is what the Galactic Command interface looks like, again, if you haven't tuned into one of the previous streams. And what we're really going to focus in on is that icon right smack in the middle, which says Uprisings. So
Yeah.
shall we
Is there
dive
any
in?
other context you want to add to Uprisings?
No, let's just dive in, man. Let's
All
just
right,
go.
I love it.
I love it. I'm excited. We're gonna set it all up right here.
Uprisings.
I don't know how many bullet points are here.
Yeah, that's fine. Just,
Let's play chicken with it.
Yeah. So
I think it was that many.
maybe one more? Maybe one more.
Oh,
Nailed it.
there we go.
Boom. Because that was an important one. I was like, I feel
it
like
is.
it's an important one. So Ben, do you want to just give a basic overview of what Uprisings are? Because then right after this, we're going to kind of deep dive a little bit more into each one of these bullets. So
Yeah, I mean, again, it's fast-paced Star Wars action that you play with 4 players. We want this to be high action all the time. You spawn in, you're fighting either lots of stuff or complicated things or bosses. There's going to be 4 challenge modes in total. The first one will be for 4 players, tactical in the sense that it's role neutral.
Sure.
4 players of any kind of role can play. And that's meant to be like the entry level into the Uprisings. The veteran mode will be hard. I mean, this is, think hard mode Lost Island for any of you guys out there. It's going to be roll and force, tank, healer, 2 DPS.
Yep.
And it's going to be tough, especially early on before people have got all the gear that they need. It's going to be a challenge.
Yep.
And then let's not even talk about Master Mode, because Master Mode is going to then dial that difficulty way up, kind of think Nightmare style.
Yep.
And we really want this to be the thing where it's like, if you are one of the best players in the game, you can do Master Mode. If not, you will spend a little bit of time dying.
Yep.
And we just really want to make these challenging. And obviously, as time goes on and people get more gear, they'll get slightly easier. But we think they're going to be difficult.
Ben529, hard mode Lost Island, shivers. That's the goal, right? That's
Yeah, that's
ultimately
and we've still got a little bit more time to get some balance passes. We've got the closed PTS rolling now and getting some feedback from there and some internal playtests. So we'll be tweaking them as we go. But we do want the entry level one to be really easy. You transition from chapters, get into story mode, Uprisings, and you'll have a fun time and get to understand, learn the mechanics, learn the areas. And then we want people to challenge themselves and kind of go through the more challenging difficulty modes.
Yep.
And there's power-ups,
Yeah,
which I'm not going to tell you exactly what they are yet, because we'll show you one of them in a few minutes.
Yeah.
And they're pretty great.
I'm just going to say the term rocket launcher.
The term
all I'm
rocket
saying.
launcher will be used. All right, so fast action-paced combat. Do you want to explain? Because I
Yeah, I can
think
talk a little about this.
This is definitely one of the things that I think. Oh, you went too far, Ben.
no.
This is definitely one of the things that sets it apart from the other content that we have, like Flashpoints, Heroic, Star Fortresses, that type of stuff.
Yeah, this is just all-out crazy action pretty much from the moment you start. It's huge waves of enemies. It's giant bosses. It's a shorter experience overall. Like, it's a faster run. It's intended to be roughly 15 minutes, 20 minutes. We're kind of playing with that right now. It depends on the difficulty and a lot of other factors. So they're really meant to be a quick, repeatable, fun, action-packed kind of episode. Very Star Wars-y. It's you and your buddies raiding the Death Star or what have you. That kind of iconic feel. They're very story light. We didn't want to have people feeling like, oh, spacebar this thing. Let's get to the action. These are designed very much for that. I just want to play. I want to get cool rewards. and have fun Star Wars battles.
If you're the guy who's been in Black Talon with someone where you've run it for your 50th time and the guy's there for the first time and you're like, oh my god, I want to be nice, but please press spacebar. Uprisings are for you.
Yes.
So you want to introduce us to what we're going to see next?
Yeah, so the clip that we're about to see, this is from a uprising which is located on the planet of Hoth. The name of the uprising is...
Firefrost.
Firefrost. So this is about halfway through the uprising. So again, it's me, Tate, and Keith. It's going to be from my perspective, which will be pretty obvious because I named the character Musco and it looks like me.
Subtle clues.
I want to point out, actually, maybe I shouldn't point out any of the things. I should let the clip play, and then I'll cover myself
I think
afterwards.
this should be a test of how observant the stream
All right,
is.
let's go. So tell me all the things that are bad about this clip.
There's one question before we start. I heard someone say, do I have to finish all the story to access this?
Yeah.
You just have to get to level 70.
Yep.
Correct. Yeah, because once you get to level 70, regardless of your story progress, you unlock Galactic Command.
And then you can do all of these activities, whichever you want. I mean, we highly recommend you play through the story because it's amazing.
And everything
really
does kind of tie in together with the story.
Right,
But
it'll make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
But if it's your third character and you just want to get to level 70, you can play whichever way you want.
But again, yeah. So this clip is about halfway through the uprising, where we just completed an objective and we're heading over towards another one. And so this is just going to kind of show you some of what we mean by fast combat, where you'll see the power level of the enemies that we're fighting, multiple packs in a row, that type of stuff. So if you want to go ahead and hit next, Ben, and then people can judge me thereafter. So make sure it doesn't echo.
How do you reach like 890?
How do I what?
How do you reach like 890 without me do that?
I have really long thumbs. Right there.
No class.
He spotted
No
it.
class.
No class buff. That was the first.
I'll
Do you
explain.
explain why?
I'll wait till the footage is over.
Well, let's talk through this. Like you were playing through this.
Yeah. So,
What is your
so first
experience?
off,
How did
I
this
had
go?
literally just died right before this, just because I'm an idiot is basically why. So as you guys saw right in the beginning of the clip, there was a bunch of ice falling. Because one of the cool things that I noticed about the uprising, because I should note, this footage that we have is from one take, and it's the first time I had ever played this Uprising either. Same with Keith and Tate. So we were kind of going in fresh, just trying to experience it. It was on story mode, and the ice that was falling, in my mind, I was like, it's story, so we're good here. So I was fighting on top of one of the ice, the ice that was falling, being like, it's fine, I'm a guardian, and then I died, which Keith was lecturing me. He sits there next to me, yelling at me about standing and stuff, and then he battle resed me, and then we carried on. So that's why I don't have a class buff, because I'm an idiot and I died.
So someone called out no stances, but
Correct,
in
that's-
the expansion they're going to be passives, right?
Correct.
So that you don't actually need stances.
Correct. Your stances are dependent on your discipline, and they're completely passive. And that's one of the great things. If you guys have any questions about anything that seemed unusual, next week we're going to be talking about combat, class changes, all that stuff, and we'll talk about a lot of the stuff that we have coming on that front as well.
I don't know if you saw Keith heckled you and said, excuses, excuses.
Oh,
Just-
yeah.
just to be clear.
Thank you, Keith. I appreciate you looking out.
He's supportive.
Yeah, he was pretty great.
So we,
Oh no! Look at you.
Ben,
you're just too anxious.
You're jumping the gun.
it's
Ben.
called doing a tease, actually.
Oh, is that what it
So-
is? People are going to yell spoilers again.
a
We can't
technical
get
term,
too
but
far.
don't worry about it.
can't get
We
too
saw
far.
someone asking about this, even in chat, if they're all 4-player now, and yes, that is in fact the case now.
And I think one of the great things is, and I think this is something that you should probably explain, is there's a very specific reason that story is no longer solo player, and it's really coming down to our focus on group content and listening to the feedback of we want challenges, we want more content for our
Yeah,
friends.
exactly. Yeah, that was really the goal. You know, we've been saying, hey, we really want to refocus on multiplayer group content as we move forward from, the end game of the expansion and into the releases that we're doing afterward, starting next year. So we felt like really the best way to show that is to say, no, Uprisings are group content.
Yeah.
Period. All out.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
And it did allow us to bring in that master mode as
Yeah.
kind of the nightmare mode difficulty, the really hard challenge, which is awesome.
Yeah, as you move the difficulties down, it gives us that room at the top to do something really, really tough.
Yeah.
Yep.
And share that with people.
And so that's why one of the things that Ben had explained earlier. So again, when we launch with Knights of the Eternal Throne in December, both story and veteran modes of the Uprisings will be there. And veteran is really intended to be the thing if you want to be the skilled group to bang your head against. That's what you should do. And we're looking at Master kind of like literally like the old Nightmare Ops style, where it's going to come later because we want to give you some time to get geared up,
Yep.
get coordinated, so that when Master comes out, it's really the next challenge for you to really try to hit your faces against to see how it goes. So, also, just to alleviate any concerns, because I saw someone say, where did all of your abilities go? Don't think the abilities have been removed. I cheated on a dev server to make the character and didn't move any of my abilities on. I just only pressed like 4 buttons. So that's my incompetence, not abilities that have disappeared.
Also being adequately heckled from this side of the fence about that point.
When these guys were watching
when
these guys were watching the clips earlier, it was not going well for me. That's what I will tell you from my experience earlier. Yep.
You had access to any companion, you picked Jorgen?
Jorgen's awesome.
How do you feel about that? Yeah.
Tux426, I'm so glad you brought that up, because that's Keith's fault. That had nothing to
But
do with that.
Jorgen's one of your personal favorites,
I mean,
right?
yeah,
Because you wrote the Trooper story.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Get out.
Yep.
You're like, Keith, ban that person.
Yep.
All right. So can
I should set
what's
this up.
the next clip?
So one of the things that, so again, you just saw kind of how Uprisings are meant to be a bit more fast-paced. There's lots of enemies that we're fighting, stuff spawning in from all over the place. But we also didn't want to let you down on the boss encounters either. So they're definitely very challenging, and there's a lot of stuff going on. So I think one of the best things to do is just show you, this is the first boss in the Hoth Uprising. I just want to show you, I highlighted like a 10-second clip of when everything starts kind of going crazy. So we'll take a look at that. So again, more ice, which is my bane. And you'll see right here, I start getting hit by it, and my health starts dropping a lot. Luckily, I did dodge the exploding droids. I backpedaled. Please enjoy that chat.
Pretty sure Keith's off healing you because you're still standing in too much stuff.
Correct. But there you go. So that's just a very, very brief snippet of the first boss encounter, just to kind of give you guys a taste of the fact that there's a lot going on these boss encounters, and
And this is in story mode. I mean, you make that kind of mistake in veteran mode, you're going to be paying for it.
I will say, I won't spoil the ending, but there was more than one death that occurred in this Uprising, which is silly because we were on story mode. Probably shouldn't have happened. So,
Zamzam's got my back on Jorgen.
See?
Just saying.
There's nothing wrong with Jorgen.
Saying Zamzam gets a reward, or what
I think so. Get with Tate. See what we can get you.
Tate, we're going to need a reward to Zamzam, please, because she had Charles's back.
So we're teaching
Just
people
like
to
Jorgen.
give us compliments so they get rewards. Okay, got it. Just
This is,
making sure I understand what I'm
you're
doing.
not supposed to point it out.
100% influenced by positive lines.
Yep. Okay, so the next thing, and this is pretty important, is that there are new power-ups, which are also being introduced. It's just those 3. I'm telling you, since Ben was ready. You guys shouldn't see the glimmer in his eye. Charles, would you like to describe what our 3 power-ups are that people can expect?
So basically these are just quick extra bonus abilities that you can pick up. You may have seen a lot of these. We did these in Fallen Empire with the kind of temp abilities that pop up. So these are just quick pickups. It's kind of to go along with that whole notion that this is fast action packed, kind of Arcadia a little bit in a way. So you'll find these scattered around the level. Sometimes they're hidden, sometimes they're in crates, sometimes they're right there to lure you into a deadly trap. Spoiler. But these give you, a really good way to fight those really large hordes of enemies or deal with the tougher bosses. So, for example, you'll notice Tempest Rocket Launcher. It's a rocket launcher. Surprise. That is for wiping out tons and tons of bad guys all at once. Thermal Devastator. It's like a thermal detonator, but more devastating.
By the way,
I didn't write that, but I agree with it.
I'm pretty proud of myself on these. I want to put that out there. Sometimes my background screenshot selection has been pretty spot on with these streams, and getting pretty good at being a writer as well.
Oh, you're such a dream, Oscar.
Combat Clarity just takes off all your cooldowns, unlimited resources. You move faster. Basically, go beast mode. Unleash everything you've got. Really great for bosses in particular.
Yep. And so I want to tell an amusing story because again I feel like the theme of this stream is going to be dumb things Eric did to make footage more interesting. Is that I kept picking up thermal devastators throughout the stage, but using them in really stupid ways. Like there's one guy, and I'll give you an example. Tate was really excited to use orbital bombardment on his sniper, and so I would wait till he was about to orbitally bombard the enemies, and I would throw the thermal detonator to knock them all out of it. And I'm like, this isn't helping the footage at all because it's not showing anything, but I was having fun. But anyway, so I have one scene where I had the thermal detonator, and it just shows thermal devastator, and it will show you just how devastating they can really be.
I did see one great suggestion in chat to make it a thermal defenestrator, which is a surprisingly specific version of that power-up, as many of these places do not have windows to knock you through, but we'll add it to the list.
There you go.
Am I good?
Yeah.
I don't want to...
I'm going to laugh there's another bullet, but you should be good. All right, good. I nailed it. All right, thermal devastator, and they are all gone. Many damages.
All the damages.
There you go. By the way, I also want to point out that I really appreciate earlier when we showed the other clip that everyone had my back, being like, "Don't worry, Musco, I'll come heal you." And people weren't like, "Hey, idiot, get out of the ice falling." They're just like, "Don't worry, we'll get you through it." Thanks, guys. I appreciate that you got my back.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about... we just wanted to make sure we set the lay of the land for what is actually coming with the expansion and what's going to be coming later. And really to emphasize that we think there's a lot of really exciting and new content coming out with the launch of the expansion. So Galactic Command obviously ties everything together. We're going to have all these new story and veteran mode uprisings, which we've talked about in great detail. We've shown you a few clips there. We didn't want to show the whole entire process, but just show some of the highlights to give you guys a little bit of a tease of what you can look forward to when the expansion hits. 9 brand new chapters that finishes the kind of epic storyline of that we started with Knights of the Fallen Empire, which takes us to 25 chapters total. And all those chapters will be available in Galactic Command. They all contribute command points, which I think is really cool. If you have a favorite chapter or a favorite scenario you want to go back and play, you can play them in any order that you want, which is really cool. So playing them is going to be a lot of fun. And then we have the world bosses from the Dark vs. Light thing. I think this really want to promote that social activity, really encourage guilds to recruit members who want to do the same kinds of things they want to do. And, when the light or dark reaches the win condition, be able to scout through the galaxy, find where the bosses have spawned. If you've got your capital ship, kind of teleport in, summon everyone and go down and earn yourself either some bonus command points or bonus light or dark side points, as well as some tokens. That's a really fun thing. So that's kind of all the new stuff coming. And then, of course, all the old content that's been in the game has been scaled up to level 70. We know a lot of people still enjoy playing that stuff. And so if that's what you want to do, we want to make that available as well. But if you want to, taste all the new stuff, there's plenty of stuff from solo to 4-player to kind of larger group content coming with Knights of the Eternal Throne.
Yep, and that certainly begs the immediate follow-up question, which is, well, what's next, though?
Yeah, Charles, you want to talk a bit about the master version?
Yeah, absolutely. So like we mentioned earlier, we really wanted to kind of have y'all build up towards the master level because we really want that to be an actual challenge. So master chapters, that's really a solo level challenge for you to really fight through those chapters in the hardest way possible, really feel like you're accomplishing something. That was definitely a lot of feedback that we got last year, was that people felt the chapters were too easy. So we really want to correct for that and give you an option that lets you feel like that story is a real challenge. Especially that those really tough enemies are really, really hard to get over, really hard to defeat, people like Arkan back in Chapter 16. So Master Chapters, those will be coming after launch. Yep. We're not talking about the exact timing yet, but not long.
Yep.
Then Master Uprisings, same idea. We want that to be the toughest challenge that we have in the game for 4 players as much as possible. So we want to take that time to make it that, make sure y'all have time to get geared up, because it's going to be balanced for high-level gear from the expansion, not something you just jump straight into after the chapters. And so that'll be following along as well, and give you a chance to really flex your muscles a bit.
Yep.
Yeah, and we'll talk about more specifics late November.
Yep.
So
Yep.
kind of 2 or 3 weeks from now, we'll kind of share the dates for that, or the time frames for that.
And
but they're both going to come pretty hot on the heels, right?
Yeah.
And then that, of course, leads to the other question, which is, but what about those things? What other group content do we have? Because you've mentioned before that we are really refocusing ourselves back
this
into group
renewed
content.
focus on repeatable multiplayer group content. I think, Charles and I spend a lot of our time talking about this and trying to think about the best way to do it. And the big lesson from last year is that when we deliver story, it needs to come in big chunks, which we're doing with 9 amazing chapters in the expansion. But as we wait between those points in time, we're going to fill all that content with more group-focused, repeatable content So that's all of our initiatives that come after this expansion will be focused on delivering that.
Yeah.
What exact form does that take, and when can we share that? We've talked about trying to share more in January. We want to share it as soon as we can. But we're just really excited to kind of take the game back to focusing on social, focusing on guild, focusing on group content and repeatable content. There'll be some stuff in there for solo players, but it should be part of a bigger narrative that facilitates group and guild.
And I think that's an important point, right? Like, just because it's all group and it's repeatable stuff, it doesn't mean there won't be any story anymore. Like, we're not abandoning, that is really
It's a very
the
important
core
thing.
of what the Old Republic is. So there will still be story content as well. It just won't be these monthly chapters that we did last year. Yep. But everything will still have story setting. Everything will still have that tying it together. You'll still be making cool choices.
Yep. And I would be remiss if I did not point out that there are plenty of questions where people go, when you talk about group content, are you talking about operations? And so I think our answer to that is stay tuned as we get through the next couple of months, especially the thing that we've kind of been putting a pin in is January is really the end timeline of when we'd really start talking about what our plans are for early next year. Not saying there is or isn't an operations coming, but we know that people really want that kind of 8-player, more player, repeatable group content. We definitely hear you on that. So as soon as we have more information to share about anything down those lines, we will be sure to tell you.
Yeah.
And again, for the solo player, you still have those 25 chapters on the harder difficulty levels. And take a little dip into story mode uprisings. They are 4-player content, but I think, if you enjoy the story, you enjoy playing our game, you'll have a lot of fun playing that content as well.
Yeah. I saw actually one question speaking about repeatable chapters and choices and whether, does that undo my choices? Does it change what's happening? So basically the first time you play through the chapters all the way through, that's when you set the decisions that, essentially are saved for your character. When you repeat a chapter, it remembers the choices that you made around it. So if you repeat chapter 4, say, it will remember the choices that you made in chapter 3 on your first playthrough. But you can make totally different choices when you do chapter 4 the second time than the first. But those are not saved. That is just for the experience of repeating the chapter. Your first playthrough is the one that is sort of setting the story of your character. When you repeat chapters, you can experiment and check out the other choices, but they are not saved.
Yep.
Fair enough. So why don't we do a quick recap on what uprisings are, and then there's a bunch of questions that I have that I've seen out of chat about uprisings specifically. But why don't you do the recap, and then I'll hit you with some of those questions.
Yeah, let's get it all out there.
It's just those. I think it's those 4.
Yeah. So would you do the uprisings, Republic?
Yeah, so just like we've been talking about, uprisings, they're really intended to be a 4-player experience. That's, from a tactical role neutral thing all the way up to a really challenging veteran and master difficulties that'll be really fast-paced Star Wars action, low story, fast action, lots of enemies, and hopefully some tougher challenges as you move up through those. We've got multiple uprisings coming with Eternal Throne. We'll be digging into that, where they take place, and all of those kinds of details more as we get closer to launch. They're going to be accessible from anywhere through the new Galactic Command system. That becomes available at level 70. That's important to note. Uprisings are limited to level 70. And Story and Veteran mode will be coming out at launch. We'll be holding back and releasing Master mode just a little bit later, once folks have time to kind of gear up and get ready for it.
So here's some of the questions that I've seen specifically about uprisings. First one is, are they static? Like, is it like a flashpoint where it's kind of predetermined encounters, or is it random, like like the Zerkas were, where they kind of populated in that type of thing?
Yeah. It's a very, what's the word I'm looking for? Designed. It's I guess static the word. It's very very specifically designed encounters to attack you in certain ways, and that's really the way you get a definite challenge in veteran and master mode. You have to be able to kind of fine tune it and know what's going to happen when to ensure that it's a challenge, because with the randomness of spawns and stuff, that could not work out so well.
Will uprisings be cross-faction? Since we have elements of the game that are cross-faction, such as Odessin, can you go into an uprising with both Empire and Republic characters, or is it faction-specific?
Currently, they're faction-specific. I think that would be very cool to do in the future, though. So we'll definitely put that on the list.
And on that, I saw the question of, will these be available in Group Finder? So when you access them through the Galactic Command window, you'll be put into a queue, basically Group Finder on the back end. So yes, absolutely, you queue for them. You don't have to make your own group to get into them.
Yep. I saw a question.
Is Kephas in there?
I feel like that's an important
spoiler. Kephas is in all of them.
Yeah, Kephas is everywhere.
The question is, can you find Kephas?
Now we're talking. Are uprisings available to only subscribers?
Yes, they are available only for subscribers. It's the brand new content. It's the top end part of the expansion. It's for our premium players, and so it's a subscriber only benefit.
All right. So I'll see if any other questions come in while I continue to move it forward. Again, we're seeing a lot of questions not related to Uprisings. If you want to grab any of them, but as always, like we will have a recap in the forums where you guys can ask any questions that are non-Uprisings related specifically. So here's our plan for you guys that are asking some of the questions about other stuff, like we had mentioned, combat and class changes and that type of stuff. So our next live stream next Thursday, we'll be back again. Galactic Command. Before I get there, I didn't change the date, so I bet it still says Thanksgiving. I just thought of it right now. None of us caught it. Anyway, next week we're going to go through the combat changes, not only just the classes themselves, but kind of some of the more general stuff that's happening in Eternal Throne.
Gameplay improvements overall, are we doing?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep, absolutely. We're going to go over all
There
that
is
stuff.
some really cool stuff we're doing.
I can't wait to share that
Really
stuff.
cool stuff.
Yep. So, what are we going to talk about in the future? The week after that, we're going to talk about repeatable chapters and their difficulty levels. The week after that will be the new planets, and we're going to get some just general story insights on what happened with Fallen Empire as it relates to Eternal Throne and kind of connecting all that together. So if you have story questions, that's when you want to come and
Absolutely.
Story time with Charles Boyd.
hit Charles up. We really need a fun name for that. This is the stream that is not going to happen on the 24th, right? That would happen on the 23rd. But it will be a wrap-up. It'll kind of just be, it'll be the three of us kind of just going, hey, here's everything we talked about the past 6 weeks or however
and what
many
did
weeks.
we miss? What's outstanding? What's
Yep.
changed? Other questions we need to answer. Yeah.
Yep.
Almost like an AMA.
Oh God, I went too far. Okay, now I did it. It's not, now it's even, now it's my fault. Now it's my fault.
My hands had.
Yep.
I'm guilt-free.
All right, so we're close to 10 minutes. So Tate joked that we should just call these 45-minute streams, and man, we probably should because that seems to be about where we landed. But is there anything you guys want to cover before I introduce the last video?
I'm personally good, unless there are other questions that we missed. We tried to grab them as they came in, but
Yeah, especially and I should especially the Uprisings questions because I know you guys have a lot of questions about and things that we've talked about in the past, right? Like cross server, new war zones, like a lot of that stuff. We've talked about them a lot in the past. Our answer, unfortunately, is still the same at this point. So nothing new.
Yeah,
there,
I think the big questions are just going to be how does crafting actually work, and we'll post all that.
Yeah, we'll get all.
How does it apply to PvP players, PvE players, and the answer is we think there's a good solution for everyone. But we'll post it today, and then we can do follow-up Q&A next time.
Yep. So these are the big things. Just as a reminder, the things that'll be going up today/tomorrow. So when we're done here, there'll be a blog about Uprisings. If you watch the stream, it's not going to have any new information in it, but it's just kind of a recap of the stream itself. When I get out of the stream, I'm going to post about the exact refund rates and that type of stuff for people who have cartel market passes that are still pending. Tomorrow, we'll be posting about the conversion rates for the Warzone commendations and the crystals. And we'll get up a post detailing some of the, posting more of the details about crafting for you guys to take a look at and give us your feedback on.
I saw one question that I liked, but I don't know the answer to.
Oh,
Which
that's good. That's good.
Let's roll the dice.
Yeah.
Which was, do we know when the 5-year collage is coming out for people who submitted in their screenshots?
I don't know exactly when. I can tell you it's still being worked on. It was just like a day or two ago I saw an email going out about that, so I know that it's still being worked on for sure.
Well, we'll try and get you that answer.
Yep.
Sorry, we don't have it in our heads right now.
But I don't know. I will ask this question of you, Charles, because I've seen it come up a lot. Companions.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that sounds like a great topic for story time with Charles. But if there, we can do one companion question. Which one?
Basically, the question is, will I get X companion back?
Well, I mean, I've definitely seen a lot of people saying, will I get all of them back? And that is impossible. There's definitely still a lot left, and that's on us. So, I know that. And it's something that pains me literally every day because I really want to get those companions back. I can kind of talk about this for about 20 minutes straight because it's something that's really important to me, and it's a key part of the story is, balancing moving the storyline forward, feeling like you're seeing your decisions pay off quickly, that you're seeing results, that we're tying off, story points like what's the deal with Arkan, what's the deal with Valkorion, where's this stuff with Zakul going, balanced with getting new characters back, introducing them to people who don't know them, reminding you of them if you hadn't seen them in a few years, that sort of thing. It's a really tough thing to balance out, and I feel like we probably didn't quite get that balanced right, or at least as best as I would have liked to last year. So we really wanted to focus this year's storyline on moving the story forward, giving payoff, giving resolution to a lot of the things that people were really wanting to see that we felt like maybe were stretched out a little too much last year. So that's really the focus of the chapters. Now, does that mean we'll never get any of those companions back? Absolutely not. I have said many times and dug myself deep into a hole that I will probably be murdered over at some point. It is my intention that we will get every companion back eventually as part of the story, because to me that is critical. They're awesome characters. They deserve storyline reintroductions that are appropriate to them, that really give you the feeling, that you miss, and give you the payoff that you want for getting those characters back. I want to really do them justice. But of course, there's quite a few of them left. That's going to take some serious time to do. We're going to do our best as time proceeds. We'll figure out what the best way to do that is, and we'll keep y'all posted as we go.
All right.
Cool.
I like that Riff Pimp just said Kaizykin like 7 times, and please, please, please give him as a companion. I think you're onto something. Could be my own personal bias, but I feel like you're definitely onto something.
I think we should add more companions that Charles has to deal with. 'Cause that seems like we're
Let's
helping.
see. Will Charles be murdered if we bring in Kaizykin before we bring in Kira?
To be fair, will I be murdered? Because I think people would assume
I
that's
think
my
let's
fault.
not talk about death anymore.
Okay, so, I think we should talk about death, and we should end this
Oh,
stream.
hey!
So,
Look at that segue.
So for anyone who's been around for a long time and has watched our streams for a long time, there's one thing that has always been close to my heart on the community team, and that is Tate dying. And so I will end you today with a clip that will round out the stream, which is the final boss of the Hoth Uprising, which is just a little clip of the end boss. And if you look closely, and I ended it to make sure you can't miss it, you may notice Tate die to the boss. And I thought that was hilarious, and it also shows off the last boss, so I thought it would be the Tates in chat.
Don't you do this.
And I thought it would be a great way to end the stream. So that's it for me.
Yeah. So thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week with another stream, and we'll be on the forums giving more information, answering questions.
Put up all the questions, all the feedback, so we can roll it into the next one.
Yep. All right, so I'm going to hide the camera, and then I'll hide the mic, and then I'll click over to the next so you guys can enjoy it.
And thanks again, guys.
See
Have
you
a good
guys.
day.
See you later.
guys.
Quit breaking my blasted turrets!